Welcome. If you have a thirst for history, culture, or science, you're in the right place.
Have you ever pondered on the role of Africa in biblical narratives? The continent, known for its diverse cultures and rich history, has been a significant backdrop in many biblical stories. Its geographical location, being at the crossroads of Asia, Europe, and the rest of Africa, made it a hub of civilization and a melting pot of cultures. This unique position brought forth a myriad of interactions and exchanges, which are mirrored in the biblical narratives. These narratives, imbued with the essence of Africa, introduce us to a host of characters of African origins. From queens and pharaohs to servants and wise men, each character plays a pivotal role, adding depth and dimension to these stories. Their stories are not just a part of African history, but they are woven into the fabric of global biblical history. Let us embark on a journey through the pages of the Bible to meet some of the African characters who played pivotal roles in these narratives. Our first stop is the royal court of King Solomon, where we encounter the Queen of Sheba. This influential queen, mentioned in both 1 Kings and 2 Chronicles, made a significant journey to meet King Solomon. Intrigued by tales of his wisdom, she presented him with riddles and enigmas to test his intellect. Solomon, in turn, impressed her with his insights and knowledge. This encounter is a striking example of the diplomatic and intellectual exchanges that occurred between Africa and the rest of the ancient world. Now let's transition to the story of King Tirhakah of Cush. This Egyptian pharaoh of Cushite origin is noted in both 2 Kings and Isaiah. His reign coincided with the tumultuous period of King Hezekiah's rule, and his presence in the biblical narrative underscores the geopolitical significance of Africa in this era. These 2 monarchs represent the influence and power of Africa in biblical times. Moving forward in our biblical timeline, we come across Zapora, Moses' wife. Zipporah hailed from Midian, a region often linked with locales in the Arabian Peninsula or Eastern Africa. As a Midianite woman, Zapora played an essential role in Moses' life, bearing his children and standing by his side during the most turbulent times of his prophetic journey. Transitioning from Zapora, we meet the Ethiopian eunuch, a figure from the New Testament. This individual held a high-ranking position as an official under the Queen of the Ethiopians. His life took a dramatic turn when he encountered Philip, one of the apostles. In a transformative moment found in Acts 8:26-40, Philip explained the scriptures to him, introducing him to the teachings of Jesus. This encounter led the Ethiopian eunuch to embrace Christianity, marking another significant connection between Africa and the biblical narrative. These characters emphasize the connection between Africa and some of the Bible's central figures. In the New Testament, we meet Simon of Cyrene, who had a unique encounter with Jesus. Born in Cyrene, North Africa, Simon was thrust into the biblical narrative when he was compelled to assist Jesus in carrying the cross to Calvary. A seemingly random bystander, he became a part of one of the most significant events in Christian history. Now let's shift our focus from North Africa to the heartland of Ethiopia, where we encounter Jeremiah's Cushite eunuch. This unnamed hero plays a pivotal role in the book of Jeremiah. As a royal court official, he uses his position to rescue the prophet Jeremiah from a muddy cistern where he had been left to die. Despite his status as a foreigner and a eunuch, his actions demonstrate his faith and courage. These characters underscore the significance of African characters in the biblical narrative. Their stories remind us that the Bible is a global story, with heroes hailing from every corner of the world. As we delve deeper into biblical narratives, we encounter a diverse array of African characters. In the Genesis narrative, we come across Hagar, an Egyptian maidservant to Sarah, the wife of Abraham. This strong, resilient woman's story is one of survival and faith. Hagar is given to Abraham by Sarah to bear a child, and she becomes the mother of Ishmael, who is considered a patriarch in several major religions. Despite her trials, she remains a symbol of strength and perseverance. Next, we turn our attention to the mysterious Magi from the East. While their origins are not explicitly stated in the Bible, tradition often places them in regions including Africa. These wise men, guided by a star, sought the infant Jesus to pay him homage, bearing gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Their journey underscores the universal appeal and reach of the message of Jesus. Then we have Potiphar, an Egyptian official who features prominently in the narrative of Joseph. Potiphar, holding a high position in Pharaoh's court, purchases Joseph as a slave. Despite the unfortunate circumstances, Joseph rises in Potiphar's household due to his integrity and God-given ability to interpret dreams. Potiphar's story reminds us that Africa was not just a backdrop, but a place of dynamic interaction in these narratives. Finally, we explore the character of Nimrod, described as a mighty hunter and ruler in the land of Shinar. While the Bible doesn't explicitly connect him to Africa, some traditions point towards Mesopotamia or even parts of Africa as Shinar's location. Nimrod's story echoes the themes of power, leadership, and civilization, often associated with Africa's rich history. Each of these characters adds depth and diversity to the biblical narrative, underscoring the importance of Africa in these stories. The biblical narrative is rich with African characters, each with their unique stories and contributions. We've journeyed through the tales of the Queen of Sheba, King Tirhakah, and Zapora, each demonstrating the wisdom, leadership, and strength that Africa has imparted on these narratives. We've met the Ethiopian eunuch Simon of Cyrene and Jeremiah's Cushite eunuch, figures who have shown us the depth of faith and devotion found in African cultures. And we've explored the narratives of Hagar, the Magi, Potiphar, and Nimrod, further emphasizing the breadth of Africa's influence in these sacred texts. These characters, bound by their African roots, have significantly shaped the biblical narrative, demonstrating the broader cultural and geographical influence of Africa during biblical times. Their stories, their struggles, and their triumphs have been woven into the fabric of this ancient text, enriching its depth and complexity. Indeed, Africa's role in biblical narratives is undeniable, contributing to the rich tapestry of stories that continue to inspire and enlighten us today.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this video or learned something new, smash the like button and subscribe.